Hey, that's mine. That's not fair. But why? Your child argues. You explain. You go back and forth again like an epic ping pong match. Things escalate. You say, don't argue with me, but they go ahead and do it anyway. If you have a 3 or 4-year-old who argues with you about everything, the snacks, the toys, the outings, the places to go, whose turn it is, then you're in the right place. Hello, I'm Jane, and welcome to Dynamic Learning, the channel made by parents for parents. We've done the research, so you don't have to. This week we will be exploring the milestone, starts conversations, uses words to argue, and maybe even solving a dispute or two. This means that your child is starting to use their words, not just to talk with you, but maybe they're starting to object. They're starting to push back on certain things, and they're using their voice to let you know when something feels wrong or unfair. We are going to explore this together using 5 stepping stones. These are meant to help break down the how-to and help you support your child's development in an easy, natural, and very achievable way. No pressure, no drills, just helpful modelling through routines that you naturally do. I know how exhausting all of this can be. But before we get into try this instead of just saying stop, why don't we take a peek behind the curtain and see what's actually going on in their little heads? Because once you see it, your whole perspective is going to shift. To a lot of parents, arguing can feel like a real act of defiance, like they're choosing on purpose to be difficult and objective. But they're not. Arguing may actually be a sign that thinking is developing. Your child is forming ideas and they want to express them. Language is becoming a real tool, not just for chatting, but for pushing back, for objecting, for trying to shape what happens around them. That isn't a problem. That's progress. The issue is that they don't yet have the skills to argue well. Impulse control, cognitive flexibility, emotional regulation, and perspective taking are all skills that still need to be built. The urge to argue arrives well before the ability to handle conflict constructively. That gap is exactly where your support makes a difference. Instead, try to think of your child's developing brain as an air traffic control system, with planes on different routes coming from different directions, going to different places, all at once, all at the same time. And the air traffic control system has to find the best route possible, all whilst avoiding a crash. So what's happening in their brain is they're trying to manage self-control, flexibility, the ability to remember things and rules, all while everything is getting emotional. This system is what is called executive function. In children aged 2 to 3, it is still developing rapidly. And here is what this looks like in real life. The urge to take a toy arrives before the thought to pause and ask. There's no calculation behind it. Inhibitory control is the ability to think before acting, and this skill is yet to develop. When a child hears no and cannot accept any alternative, is where their cognitive ability is being stretched. This is then when they end up repeating themselves and refusing to move on. Adjusting when the plan changes is a skill that is still forming at this age. Working memory can go offline when under intense emotional pressure. In the heat of a dispute, your child may genuinely forget the sharing rule that you both went over just a mere 10 minutes ago. Now, add something called the theory of mind. The ability to understand that different people have different thoughts and feelings and different desires. Around age 3, children begin to grasp that someone else might want something different to them, or they may feel differently within the same situation. Around age 4, that understanding deepens further. But while they're still 3, many children are still quite centered in their own experiences. In the heat of a dispute, your child may genuinely not be able to see their playmate's point of view, not because they don't care, but because that skill is still being built. Then there's emotional regulation. when strong feelings hit, frustration, anger, jealousy, and the tools to manage them are not in place yet. Those feelings have to get out. They have to go somewhere. And that's where arguing comes in. They may come out as arguing, sometimes even as hitting or biting. Young children rely heavily on adults to help them stabilize in these difficult moments. Carers act as a safety net when things feel overwhelming for your child. Your steadiness helps them to co-regulate and to calm back down. So, impulse control, developing. Flexibility, developing. Perspective taking, developing. Emotional regulation, developing. And in the middle of all of that is a child that's just trying to figure out what tools they have and what they need to use in order to try and solve this problem. And that's what arguing looks like from the inside. Now, let's walk through the 5 stepping stones of this milestone. Knowing where your child is on this ladder is going to help you meet them where they currently are. Stepping stone 1 gets adult attention with words. So here's what you need to look out for. Your child uses a word or phrase to get your attention before acting out physically. Even a simple one, such as "Mummy" or "That's mine." All of those count. Words came before the grab, and that's what matters here. So why does all of this matter? Getting adult attention with words is the foundation for everything that is to follow. This is where the whole skill begins. For this stepping stone, I simply want you to practice noticing and naming when it happens. Try to say things like, "I love that you used your words to get my attention. That really helped." Stepping stone 2 starts a conversation sometimes. So here's what you need to look out for. Your child opens up a dialogue with you, not just a demand, a genuine conversation that invites a response from you. So why does all of this matter? Starting a conversation is the bridge between getting attention and actually communicating. Your child is discovering that talking works, that they can bring something to you and something will happen. Not a deep topic of conversation, but something that is important to them. For this stepping stone, I simply want you to practice responding to those openings with curiosity, not just correction. Try saying, "Tell me more. What happened?" The response that you give teaches them that opening up is worth doing. Stepping stone 3 expresses wants and objections with words. So here's what you need to look out for. Your child uses words to say what they want or to push back, even when they're upset. Even if the words are loud and imperfect, words are happening, and that's what's important. So why does all of this matter? This is where use your words starts to become a real tool that they can revert back to. They are learning that words can protest, express wants, and begin to negotiate without needing to hit or grab. So what would this look like in practice? Instead of swiping a toy, your child may say, "Hey, that's mine," or "I had it first." It wasn't pretty, but they used their words. And that's the point. For this stepping stone, I want you to practice acknowledging the words specifically. Try saying to them, "I'm really glad you told me instead of grabbing. That was a big deal." Stepping stone 4 uses words with peers more often. So here's what you need to look out for. Your child starts using verbal communication in disputes with other children, not just with you. That's a bigger ask. Adults are patient, but other children not so much. So why does all of this matter? Peer conflict is harder terrain to navigate than adult-child confrontations. Other children push back and don't narrate your child's feelings back to them. Using words with peers is a real developmental stretch, built through practice and through watching you model it consistently for them. For this stepping stone, I want you to practice naming it after the moment has passed. Try saying to them, "I noticed you used your words with your friend just then. That's very well done." Naming it helps it to stick. Stepping stone 5 repairs after conflict with support. So here's what you need to look out for. Your child is able, with your guidance, to acknowledge what happened and offer a repair so that they may be able to return to play. Not on their own, with you beside them. And that's exactly where this step sits. Why does all of this matter? Repair teaches children that a relationship can survive a rupture, that words can mend things that were broken, and that what happened doesn't have to define what comes next. So how would this look like in practice? You guide them. Say things like, "I think your friend felt sad when that happened. Should we go and check on them?" With your support, they walk over and say sorry, and that's completely fine at this age. For this stepping stone, I want you to practice using the guided repair sequence, which we're going to cover right now. The argument has happened. Something was thrown. Someone has cried. Now what? First, wait for the calm. A flooded brain cannot process information. I call this myself the red zone. When my child sees red, I know that whatever I say is just going to make it worse. I need to wait for her to calm down so that she can then start to listen to me. Once the storm has passed, then help them see the other side. Once calm returns, gently open the door to the other person's experience. Try saying things like, "Your friend was really upset when the toy was taken. Can you see how they might have felt?" Perspective taking is still developing at this age, so don't expect it to click right away. What builds it is doing this consistently across many moments. Then, invite an apology. When they understand, not before, invite the repair. Try saying, for example, "I think your friend might feel better if you said sorry. Shall we give it a go?" A sorry without a reason behind it doesn't mean very much. Try to include the why in there, why they're saying sorry, but keep it simple. Finally, help them re-enter the play. Try saying something along the lines of, "Do you want to play together again? What would you both like to do?" Concrete suggestions, such as trading toys or taking turns, are useful strategies that children can use when an adult helps them in the moment. This week, focus on one routine, such as playtime. Before play starts, use one sentence, such as, "If there's a problem today, let's try using our words first." That's it. You've laid the foundation. During play, watch for moments. Watch for the grabs, the protests, and when a moment of conflict arises, come in and use step 1 and coach them through the structure. Acknowledge the feeling. Using one sentence is enough. It doesn't have to be complicated. Too many words goes over their heads. After play, name one moment. "I noticed you used your words when you wanted that toy back. Good job, brilliant work." You don't need to coach this every single moment. One notice per play session is enough. It's the steady, repeated action that builds this skill over time. Before we close, here's what the evidence does not support, because knowing what not to expect is just as useful as knowing what to try. Children age 3 cannot independently and consistently use negotiation to solve disputes without adult support. They need you there consistently. That is not a failure. It is simply where this age sits developmentally. A sorry on its own doesn't teach very much. The explanation you give alongside it is where the real learning happens. Early childhood arguments aren't about bad intentions. They're the product of an immature brain still building its impulse control, emotional regulation, and the ability to consider someone else's feelings. There is no malice behind their actions. And no single one strategy, including timeouts, is the only way to handle peer conflict. When your child argues with you, when they protest, when you've heard "but why" 4, 5, 10 times in a row, they're trying to communicate with you. Loudly, imperfectly, but they're trying. It's your job not to silence it, but to shape it and help them by giving them the right tools that they need. Offer them support and structure, and we can do it all again tomorrow. The fact that they're arguing with their words instead of just acting out is huge growth. It may not feel like it, but it is. You're not failing at this. You're right there with them in the trenches, and that's where they need you to be right now. If you have any concerns about their development, consider speaking to a speech and language professional, or alternatively, you can try seeking an appointment with your GP. So let us know in the comments how you got on with this milestone. What was easy? What was not so easy? What were some of their pushbacks? Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to comment, share, like, subscribe, the whole shebang. And I look forward to seeing you here next week. Goodbye.